If you want to annoy a GMC Sierra owner in under 10 seconds, walk up to his truck and say, "Nice Silverado." You will see the smile disappear almost immediately. And look, Chevy owners are not completely wrong. The Sierra and Silverado share a lot. Same GM family, same platform, same basic engines, same transmissions, same cab sizes, same beds, and a long list of shared parts. On paper, they are close enough that plenty of people call them twins. But that is exactly why Sierra owners hate the comparison. Because when someone says it is just a Silverado with a different grille, they are not really talking about parts. They are saying the owner paid extra for nothing. They are saying the badge, the styling, the trim, the interior, and the whole reason the buyer chose GMC does not matter. That is where the argument starts. The first reason Sierra owners hate the Silverado comparison is styling. This sounds shallow until you remember that trucks are emotional purchases. Nobody needs a $70,000 pickup with chrome leather, a giant screen, and wheels big enough to make tire shops smile. People buy these trucks because they like how they feel sitting in them. For years, the Sierra has had the cleaner, more squared off, more upscale look. The wheel arches, grille shape, lighting, and body lines give it a different attitude from the Silverado. Chevy usually looks more aggressive or more mainstream depending on the year. GMC tends to look more controlled, more adult, more expensive. That is why a Sierra owner gets irritated when the comparison stops at the frame. Yes, the bones are shared, but nobody parks a truck in the driveway and admires the frame. They look at the front end, they look at the stance, they look at the way the truck shows up at work, at the boat ramp, at the grocery store, or in front of a house they worked 10 years to buy. The second reason is the interior. This used to be an easy win for GMC. A Sierra Denali felt meaningfully nicer than most Silverado trims, with better materials, more comfortable seats, more standard equipment, and a quieter, more premium feel. The gap has narrowed over the years because Chevy has improved the high country and upper trims, but GMC still leans harder into the premium truck identity. That matters because truck owners spend more time inside the truck than staring at it. If you commute, tow, take road trips, run a business, or use the truck as a family vehicle, the cabin becomes the part you actually live with. A nicer seat, better trim, a cleaner dash design, and features like a head-up display, multi-pro tailgate, massaging seats on some high trims, or Super Cruise availability can feel like the reason you bought the GMC in the first place. So when someone says it is the same as a Silverado, what the Sierra owner hears is, your daily experience doesn't count. That is why they push back. The third reason is the Denali effect. Denali is not just a trim anymore. GMC says Denali has sold more than 2 million vehicles in the US, and in 2024, it accounted for over 30% of GMC retail sales. That means a lot of buyers are not walking into the dealership asking for a GMC. They are asking for a Denali. That badge carries weight. It tells people the truck is the nice one, the boss's truck, the contractor who made it, the dad who wanted a truck but did not want to feel like he was driving a bare work rig. You can argue whether the badge is worth the money, but you cannot pretend it means nothing in the real world. Chevy has high country, and high country can be a very nice truck, but Denali has become its own thing. That is why comparing a Sierra Denali to a Silverado, like they are identical, misses the psychology of the purchase. The buyer did not just want GM hardware, he wanted the version that felt like a step above. The fourth reason is that Sierra owners know the trucks share problems, and that makes the comparison sting even more. If a Sierra has a lifter issue, a transmission complaint, an infotainment glitch, or a 6.2 recall concern, Chevy owners will gladly remind them that the same GM problems came with the fancier badge. That is the part Sierra owners cannot fully dodge. A Denali badge does not make the L87 engine immune to recall history. It does not make the 10-speed automatic a totally different transmission. It does not make shared electronics suddenly belong to another company. When the problem is in the shared hardware, the Silverado comparison becomes painfully fair. And that is why the debate gets personal. Sierra owners want credit for choosing the more premium version, but Chevy owners want to remind them that premium trim does not erase shared mechanical reality. Quick note before we get to the part Sierra owners really do not like admitting. The channel data keeps saying that over 80% of people watching these truck breakdowns are not subscribed. If you are still here, you are probably the type of buyer who actually compares trims, engines, repair costs, and resale instead of falling for a badge. Hit subscribe so the next video shows up when it can actually help you make a smarter truck decision. The fifth reason is the owner image. Silverado is the everyman truck. Worksite, farm, fleet, family, hunting camp, whatever, casts a wide net. GMC has always positioned the Sierra as a little more professional, a little more polished, and a little less common. That doesn't mean Sierra owners are better. It means the brand was designed to make buyers feel like they chose something more refined. That feeling is real. Maybe it is the dealership. Maybe it is the front end. Maybe it is the Denali badge. Maybe it is simply not wanting the same bow tie truck everyone else has. But people buy identity as much as transportation. When Chevy owners flatten that identity into same truck, different grille, they are poking the exact nerve GMC has spent decades building. The sixth reason is dealer experience and buyer memory. A lot of GMC owners did not choose the Sierra from a spreadsheet. They chose it because their local GMC dealer treated them better, because their father had a GMC, because the Chevy dealer in town annoyed them, or because they wanted something that felt slightly less common in a parking lot full of Silverados. That sounds small until you remember how many truck purchases are built from little preferences that stack up over years. There is also a quiet status thing happening. Silverado owners do not always want to admit it, and Sierra owners usually do not say it out loud, but GMC has spent decades positioning itself one step above Chevrolet. Not Cadillac, not true luxury, but a cleaner, more polished version of GM truck ownership. That image sticks. When someone compares a Sierra directly to a Silverado, they are flattening that little step up, and that is the exact step many buyers paid for. The seventh reason is that Sierra owners feel like they are constantly defending a choice that did not need defending when they bought it. They like the truck, they like the look, they like the cabin, they like Denali or AT4 or the grille or the way the salesperson packaged the deal. Then the internet shows up and demands a courtroom-level explanation for why they did not buy a Chevy. Nobody enjoys having a personal purchase turned into a value debate every time the badge comes up. But here is the honest part. Sierra owners sometimes overstate the difference too. If you are comparing a lower trim Sierra to a nicely equipped Silverado, the gap can shrink fast. If both trucks have the same engine, same drivetrain, same screen, same cab, same bed, and similar options, then yes, you need to be honest about what you are paying for. Sometimes the answer is styling. Sometimes it is standard equipment. Sometimes it is resale in your area, sometimes it is the dealer giving you a better deal, and sometimes it is just that you liked the GMC better. That is allowed. You do not need a spreadsheet to justify every emotional purchase. The problem starts when owners pretend the Sierra is a completely different truck. It is not. It is a more premium version of a shared GM pickup family. That can be enough, but it is not the same as being totally separate. So why do Sierra owners hate being compared to Silverado? Because the comparison is both true and incomplete. True enough to irritate them, incomplete enough to feel disrespectful. The Silverado and Sierra are related. They share the mechanical foundation. They share strengths. They share weaknesses. But GMC sells more than metal. It sells the feeling that you bought the sharper looking, better dressed, more polished version of the truck. And if you paid for that feeling, nobody wants to hear someone call it a Chevy with extra chrome.